Every week I make an English language vlog here on YouTube, which hopefully gives you the opportunity to practice your English listening skills while picking up some new vocabulary and expressions. It also allows us opportunity to explore some different topics that we're both interested in, and also maybe you'll get to know me a little bit better. In each vlog we're going to focus on a subject that my students have spoken about in their English conversation classes with me. So we can look at subjects from family to relationships, psychology, news, politics, literature, films, well-being, and so on. The kind of conversation topics that you might cover with your friends and colleagues. Did I mention technology? I'm obsessed with technology at the moment. I produce a downloadable PDF and transcript for each vlog that you can download via my website. I'll put a link below. And included in this is a vocabulary list where I share some of the vocabulary that I've used in the video. But also I might add some links to additional resources, maybe a short video on a topic that I think you might enjoy, or an article. I want to provide you with the resources to be able to talk about a subject enthusiastically in English. Today I want to talk about being an introvert. I consider myself to be a full-blown introvert, as incidentally do many of my students. And I thought maybe some of you do too. There's quite a lot of us out there. So let's start by asking the question, what is an introvert? Contrary to popular belief, being an introvert isn't necessarily about being shy or antisocial. It's more about energy levels and where we get our energy from. Extroverts get their energy from other people and social environments. Introverts draw their energy from being on their own. Extroverts might feel more lively and animated in a crowded party, while us introverts recharge our batteries by solitude or one-to-one interactions. Imagine you're at a lively party. An extrovert might find themselves feeling more energized as they talk to more people and get more involved in activities, while an introvert might feel like their energy is gradually being depleted as the party goes on. I don't know about you, I love social events, but sometimes I come away from social events feeling absolutely exhausted and drained. Introverts often enjoy solitary activities like writing, reading, spending time in nature, meditation, and so on. Introverts often prefer deep conversations with people that they know well over small talk with strangers, which they can sometimes find difficult, I think. It's important to emphasize that being an introvert isn't just about needing to spend time alone. Introverts have a lot of strengths. They can be good listeners, creative thinkers, and thoughtful decision makers. Does that sound like you? If you consider yourself to be an introvert, I'd like to hear from you in the comments. So let's talk a little bit about learning English as an introvert. You might think that being an introvert is a disadvantage when it comes to learning a language, especially when it comes to speaking. But that's not necessarily true. Like I said before, lots of the people I work with are introverts and they're excellent communicators. I asked them for their thoughts about learning a second plus language as an introvert and what they thought about it, their ideas and their tips. The first thing that came up was that they leverage online resources. So use websites and apps where they can build on their language skills. One thing I love about learning online is that I can do it at my own pace and fit it in when it suits me. Before I forget, have you tried talking to ChatGPT? I discovered a little while ago now that if you put ChatGPT on your phone, you can have a spoken conversation with a robot. So if you're a little bit hesitant to get out there and start speaking English to other human beings, you could practice by having conversations with ChatGPT. I think it's a really useful resource also for people who don't have access to other people who speak English. Maybe you can't afford conversation classes. ChatGPT is completely free. I think I'll make a video about this at some point soon, because it really is a useful tool for practicing your conversation skills. The second suggestion that they came up with was to book conversation classes, which is what they do with me. In a one-to-one conversation setting, you're in a safe space where you're not judged for making mistakes, and you can play with your English and gain confidence. If you're an introvert, the idea of a large group class might be quite intimidating. If you're interested in one-to-one conversations on italki, then I'll put a link below, or you can drop me a message if you have any questions. The next thing that we talked about was using writing as a tool. Some of my students keep a journal where they record their thoughts and ideas, maybe in a conversational tone, but in writing. You can also do this when you're writing your emails, or maybe find an online community where you can talk about things with other people. Maybe something like Reddit. Look at some of the conversations that are happening on these kinds of forums and try and join in. The final tip was to speak at your own pace and to try not to feel rushed into matching the speed of other English speakers. It's perfectly reasonable to take time to think about what you're going to say. Choose to have English conversations with people that you trust and you feel comfortable with. And remember, quality over quantity. A thoughtful response in a conversation is often a lot more meaningful than a quick, speedy response. I'd love to hear your thoughts about learning English as an introvert, so if you have anything to share, please include it in the comments below. I came to the conclusion that I'm an introvert for lots of reasons. If I go out in the evening socially, when I get home, I always feel like I need at least an hour to wind down and to decompress before I go to bed. For a long while, I thought I was alone in this, but then I met other introverts who told me similar things. Every year, my family go on a holiday to a lovely place called St Ives in Cornwall. There are 10 of us all together, and it's a wonderful trip that we all look forward to every year. But at the same time, during the course of the week, I find that at times I need to creep off and hide away for an hour here and there when I can. My sister-in-law, who's also on the trip, is actually the same, and both of us at different points during the holiday will sneak off and disappear for a little while just so that we can recharge our batteries. Even as a young child, I needed my own space. I would scuttle off to my bedroom and immerse myself in a book, or spend hours drawing pictures or writing stories. As I've become older, I've really learned to embrace being an introvert and not to feel bad about needing my own space. I also recognise that us introverts need to do certain things to make sure that we look after ourselves. One of those is creating a balanced schedule. So if you have a busy weekend where you have to attend lots of social events, making sure that you carve out some time so that you can recover a little bit. Another thing that I think is helpful is communicating your needs, telling people that you need a little bit of downtime. And finally, it's really special if you can find a place of your own where you can retreat from the world a little bit when you need some of your own space. It could be a corner of your house, it could be a cafe, it could be a particular position under a tree at the park. How do you embrace being an introvert? Tell me in the comments. Remember, you can download the transcript PDF and additional materials via a link that I will put below, which will take you to my website. And in there I'm going to put a link to a particularly lovely video that I found about being an introvert that you could maybe watch. If you can relate to or you enjoyed today's video, then make sure you give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for future vlogs and English lessons. It would be lovely to have you as part of the growing community here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.